the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, Dog Pack? Welcome back to another Dog Pack Discord live here with Josh. We've got Kenny, and his microphone and everything is working today.
Hell yeah. Woo.
And then we got Justin over here as well. Justin, how you doing, man?
Great. Microphone not working. So, well, microphone working, camera not working. Old man tech stuff, I guess. I don't know. Just me and Kenny stuff. I don't know. Who knows out here?
Yeah, we love using the Discord to, hang out with everybody and connect and everything. But doing these episodes in here gets a little bit technically challenged because of this kind of stuff. I don't think it's old man issues for you, Justin. I just think it's, my camera won't work in Discord. So here we go.
I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate that support.
It's all right. It's just user issues usually. That's right. You can put it as that.
Yeah, that was a nice way.
All right. So today, like I keep telling everybody, this is your show. So right now we've only got Ash and Andy in the audience. So you guys are running the show today, but I'm sure other people will be jumping in as we go. We're going to dive into everything that's going on around the Browns head coaching search right now. All the candidates that have either been interviews requested, or we've had reported interest in. And then we're going to get into maybe some candidates that we haven't been linked to yet that you guys would like to see the Browns bring in, who you think we'll end up hiring, who you want us to end up hiring, all that kind of stuff. And we'll dive into it. Plus, we can talk a little wild card weekend, which the Saturday games were phenomenal if you watch them. And I'm just hoping Sunday can live up to the hype.
Football has been a treat since Thursday night. We've been pretty blessed so far.
Yes, Friday night was that was over at halftime.
Yeah. That was more of a hey, let's see how good this kid really is kind of deal. Yep.
He's that good.
He is that good. It looks like, yeah, no kidding. Critics, any critics, yikes.
Yeah, his back shoulder throws were unreal, man. Those were unreal and on target and where they needed to be. That was amazing.
Yeah, obviously we're talking about Fernando Mendoza for Indiana here, who just torched the Oregon Ducks on Friday night. It was, what was it, at halftime, 42-6 or something? 35-6. The game was over. And I think he only had 3 incompletions in the game. One of them was a clear pass interference where the Oregon defender just dragged the Indiana receiver to the ground with no flag. And he had 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Easily the number 1 overall pick. I don't think there's any dispute. I think he's going number 1. Las Vegas would be crazy to sell that pick to anybody else. I think they need to just go ahead and take him. And what's even crazier is if the Browns had lost to the Steelers and the Jaguars, I'm watching the Jaguars, the Steelers and the Bengals to end the season, that would have been us. We would have had the first overall pick.
Yeah. You know what? We were talking about this on the Discord. We had the perfect opportunity to lose. We had a second, third string preseason offense out, and our defense, we would have had to sit half our defense to lose out. Mm-hmm. Like, they literally willed us to win, and that's an elite defense. It's wild to me that those two teams lost. Like, I still can't believe it.
And I think that's a good segue here. We'll take that into the coaching thing, because the Browns' job, for what a lot of people and fans say is the worst job on the market, nobody wants to come here. First of all, if you're a defensive-minded guy, you got to love what the Browns have going on here with the personnel on the defensive side of the ball. And if you're an offensive-minded guy, you got to be looking at the defense going, well, I don't even need to worry about that. Like, it's good. I just need to make sure I got the right DC to run it. Jim Schwartz, keep him, or bring in your own guy. Either way, the defense is definitely attractive. So we'll dive into that here in a second. Before we do, I want to remind everybody, if you're not in the Discord or in the Dog Pack for these episodes and you want to be, head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official member on the Patreon page, sync up with the private Discord, get in here, hang out with everybody 24/7, chat with all these diehard Brown fans all the time. And the conversations have been going crazy throughout this head coaching search, the playoffs, the college football playoffs. We're going to get into draft prospects. It's a ton of fun. Plus, you get to be on these episodes that we're going to be doing once a week, or continuing to do once a week moving forward. So go to jointhedawgs.com. All right, so let me run through real quick, and then I'll kick it over to Justin after I'm done here. But let's talk about who the Browns have actually talked to so far. So We have completed interviews with our own defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, and our own offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees. We've also completed an interview with Bengals offensive coordinator, Dan Pitcher, the Seahawks defensive coordinator, Auden Dirty, and the offensive coordinator for the Ravens, Todd Monken. We have reportedly scheduled an interview. We don't know when it is, but it has been scheduled with Mike McDaniel, the former head coach for the Dolphins. We've requested an interview from Jesse Minter, defensive coordinator for the Chargers, requested an interview for former head coach of the Ravens. We'll talk about him, John Harbaugh. Big one today, we've requested an interview for passing game coordinator from the Rams, Nate Scheelhaus. And then we have reported interest in Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Bills, Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Packers, and Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator for the Rams. Justin, talk to me where you are on this head coaching search and just your overall thoughts so far.
Well, brother, I think first off, just from the fan aspect of it, I think a lot of Cleveland Brown fans are salivating at the idea that potentially Harbaugh would want to come to Cleveland. Yeah. I think that's what kind of the exciting part of it. There's like a bunch of little aspects to this thing, but I think like dream scenario, if you're a Browns fan, is, hey, whatever it costs or takes, get that guy in your building. Proven leader of men, proven winner. A guy that has given us so many issues for most of my adult life as a Browns fan. You know what I mean? Coaching my former team, watching them kick our ass twice a year. This is a guy I would love to see come in. Now, obviously, I don't think that the far as open vacant spots are quite done yet. We've got some football still to play out. There's still some names. One name last night, I don't know if they'd actually do it, but the fact that LaFleur went out again like that it's damning. You talk to Packers fans and they say, you know, like there is that history with him. He's a great young coach, great offensive mind, but man, you know, I want to say he's 2 or 3-6 in his playoff career so far. It's not great. It might even be lower than that. I couldn't remember exact number I saw this morning, but obviously McDermott in Buffalo, there's, you know, some rumors swirling around. Then Tomlin on Monday night, who knows what happens there. There's always, you know, some smoke every year at the end with him, you know, depending on where they finish. So I don't think that we're 100% seeing all available coaches yet. And I don't think we're seeing all available open spots as far as, you know, positions in the NFL with teams.
That is kind of crazy because I know a lot of people I've been reading on Twitter and they're saying, you know, that the Packers would be crazy to fire Matt LaFleur. They would never do that. They're probably just going to extend him and everything. He's a great coach. Where there's smoke, a lot of times there is fired coaches because we had the John Harbaugh smoke and people are like, they're not going to fire John Harbaugh. They fired John Harbaugh. And you're just like you said with Mike Tomlin, it could happen. Pittsburgh Steelers fans are done with this losing in the playoffs. Is one and done, first round exit kind of crap. Matt LaFleur, 3-6 is the record in the playoffs.
Okay.
And,
all right.
You know, it could happen. I think I read 8 teams so far are looking for new head coaches. That's a quarter of the league. 25% of the NFL right now is looking for a new head coach, which is big, I believe, for a coaching cycle. I think a lot of times it's like 5 or 6 teams maybe at the most, but we've got 8 already. And like you said, could be more. Kenny, what are you thinking about with the head coaching search so far?
Yeah, I mean, I would be on the John Harbaugh train as well. I mean, he seems to be, with reports, warming up to Rees and Schwartz. And, you know, then there would be a big question mark. Would he want to, you know, work with Barry? Would Barry then become maybe just a cap strategist just till the Deshaun Watson thing's over? So it's very interesting. I was kind of surprised that we didn't do an interview with Clint Kubiak. I thought we interviewed him last year, so that maybe that was a done deal. Maybe there's something he said or did, or just it didn't mesh well. But I thought he would have had some kind of continuity with what Stefanski was doing. I thought he'd be Shador friendly with, defined reads, rhythm throwing, protection from all the chaos of this offensive line. So I thought he was like a sure, smart pick for the Browns. What I did see, though, is I did see Todd Monken, and he'd be like a stay away candidate for me because, I mean, he was swimming in the dysfunction of the Browns with the Freddie Kitchen stuff. And I can't even believe that guy wanted to interview. I'm actually surprised that Mike McDaniels might consider interviewing after he wrote the essay or the points for Shanahan to get out of here, you know? So there's probably some dark horse candidates out there. It's going to be, I think it's going to be somebody that we don't know. I got a good one, though, that Algiro Evaro, the defensive coordinator last night for the Carolina Panthers, he might be a guy that fits high on what Jimmy wants with that emotional intelligence and just maybe go to more of a head coach first, leave Schwartz and whatever offensive coordinator is going to be out there for, if he gets the hire, to do their thing and help build a team and a culture, which those guys have kind of done down in Carolina, because I didn't give Carolina a chance, and they looked pretty damn good yesterday.
They did. They really surprised me. They surprised everybody, I think, in that game. So, Justin, I want your opinion on this. My only concern with John Harbaugh is just how things ended in Baltimore and some of the reports that have been coming out that players were reportedly losing faith in his messaging and his leadership style. He wasn't connecting well with the young superstars on the team, wasn't forming relationships with them or being able to see eye to eye. Do you think there's any issue having this? You know, how old is he? 60 some years, 63 years old. And this
60,
older,
I thought he's 62.
62. Okay. This older, more old school coach versus having like a newer, up and coming young guy coming in. I got to tell you guys, this whole Nate Shieldhouse interview request that popped up today got me excited because I actually like that guy. Is he ready for a head coaching position? I don't know, but I have seen reports where people have said Shieldhouse is a name to keep tabs on. He's an up and comer. If he's not going to be head coach this cycle, it will happen at some point. Like he's got that much, respect around the league already. And I think he's only like 35 years old, but does any of that concern you with Harbaugh?
Honestly, man, I will tell you that sometimes the message in the locker room can get old, right? Especially when you've been in the same locker room for multiple, we're talking up to 15 years with a coach like this. For me, this is a team that literally was one mistake away from pretty much being in the Super Bowl or just one mistake away from advancing to the playoffs for the past 5 years.
It's true.
We're talking about bringing him to Cleveland and managing and looking out over a team where we can't even line up on first and 10 and get 12 guys onto the field. All right. I think that there's a very big difference with, losing the locker room and then like the message getting stale. And obviously, like maybe it did happen like that in Baltimore. And, you have a lot of big personalities on that team. We're not talking about, really, there are young players on that team, but that's a lot of old vets too. You've got guys like Hopkins that have been in the league for, we're going on 15 years. You've got a lot of, veteran guys. I would have no problem at all bringing Harbaugh to Cleveland and worrying about his message growing stale in our locker room. Not even a slight issue.
The thing about Harbaugh that I like is the CEO role of the head coach, where he'll bring in an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, let them delegate, let them run the units, where he focuses on overall game management and the structure and everything of the team. That has always been appealing to me. Just we've tried these play caller types so many times, and sometimes they work for some teams. It's never really worked out well for us. Maybe we just haven't gotten the right guy. That could be too. But Kenny,
I think,
go ahead.
I think you bring in a guy like Harbaugh, things like meddling from up top, you won't have that.
Yeah,
I will guarantee you that will be hey, this is going to be my roster. You own this team. I run this team kind of deal. Like, hey, sign the checks. But as far as what we want to do player wise, it's going to be my show, man. And if we don't line up on that, hey, I got other offers too, but I don't think you'll have to worry about that from up top.
And that's where I see there being a potential issue with Andrew Berry, because I don't know how well that's going to go over. We saw it this year with Kevin Stefanski, where obviously Kevin wanted a guy like Dylan Gabriel, and it was kind of set in stone from the beginning. We saw it in camp and stuff like that. Kevin wanted Dylan to play at some point. And while that's what he wanted, he still wanted to keep Joe Flacco there as a safety net because he wasn't ready to get Shedeur Sanders on the field. And Andrew Berry said, traded, gone. Now you have to, and I wonder how that'll go over with Andrew Berry. But Kenny, what are your thoughts on that with Harbaugh?
I have been bitching on this podcast for years, since Pat Shurmur. I've brought it up many times that whoever the head coach was, whether it was Pettin or whoever it was, the head coach's specialty, whether it was offense or defense, that person was calling the game for the most part. I do like the CEO part where, hey, man, I'm managing this game. You guys do what you do best because that's why you're here. That's why you're the offensive coordinator. That's why you're the defensive coordinator. And that's why you're the special teams coordinator. Just do it. And let's get together and let's win a game. He's got an actual special teams background. So he dealt with everybody when he was at Philadelphia. And it looks like when he was with the Ravens, that's what he continued to do. In 20 years, if your message gets stale, or 18, wherever he was there, your message may have got stale and they just need to start again. And I think having him here would definitely stop Haslam from meddling. I mean, he even said he took ownership of it. Like, I know the dysfunction he brought up in his presser, and he was kind of like disgusted by it. But when you lose, you're considered dysfunctional. When you win, you're not. And I think, Harbaugh coming here brings an immediate presence, and the players will listen to him. And then he'll get the players that are at whatever specific position playing where there should be. That's why you're reading reports that he's warming up to Schwartz, because he knows he's got a handle on that defense. He's even warming up to Tommy Rees. And I mean, I don't know what Rees could show anybody based on the talent that he was given, Mm-hmm. But it's still pie in the sky, I think, based on, him coming here, but still exciting.
Yeah, I mean, he's holding off interviews until next week, so we'll find out next week if he's going to take one with the Browns. Let's get our first person up here. It's the first person we always have up here, Mr. Moneymaker. How's it going, buddy?
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Go.
Oh, let's go,
let's
baby.
Go. It's delusional head coach search time. Let's go.
Let's go, brother.
Hey, can you wake me up when we interview a real coach first? I'm like yawning over here with the head coach interviews right now.
You don't want Todd Monken, man? Come on.
I mean, look, listen. This is America. I don't want a Brit as our head coach, all right?
Oh, man, come on now, dude.
This is America.
Oh, you are killing Justin right now, man.
Yeah, come on now, brother. Just kidding. Go ahead, man.
Todd Monken, he's garbage. Get him out of here. I mean,
yeah, that's a weird one, man.
Yeah, I wasn't on board with that one either.
He sucked when he was here. He sucked at play calling with the Ravens. Why the heck do we want a dude that sucks at play calling as our head coach?
We just had that.
Interesting thing, though, with Todd Monken, right? Like, based on what the reports are, it sounds like Harbaugh sat down with Baltimore, and Baltimore wanted to move from Monken, right? And they basically decided, hey, Harbaugh was not ready to move on from that decision. And it sounded like pretty much that was the reason he left. What if there's a scenario where he says, hey, I will absolutely come to Cleveland, but I'm bringing Todd Monken as my offensive coordinator with me. Is that a problem? I'll tell you right now, for me, it's not. Not even a problem. If that's your guy and that's who you trust in your system, I know we all think that it was dysfunctional with Freddie. It was because it was dysfunctional with Freddie, guys. Yeah. It was bad. You know what I mean? This is the guy that our main player, our superstar franchise guy, hit a guy with his helmet, and he wore a T-shirt that said Pittsburgh started it. Like, this is what we're talking about as far as, like, True. You know what I mean? So, yes, it was dysfunctional. Would I let that cost me an opportunity at a real, serious, proven head coach that I think could turn this team around finally? Not a chance. I would absolutely sign off. Yep. Todd's your guy. Yeah. Come on, Todd. Get in the building. Here's the keys.
You're bringing up some great points there, man. Like, I mean, again, with Todd Monken, I'm kind of joking just because of the dysfunction that he dealt with, and he didn't have anything great to say about the Browns, but he does get your passing game going. And, you know, his first year with Baltimore, everybody was like clamoring for the guy. And they had a kind of a down year with, you know, the way things happened with Lamar and he's injured. So, I mean, that could have been it too. But, I mean, I'm joking, but he does get offenses going.
I will say this. We saw the next level up of Lamar Jackson under Todd Monken. This is where Lamar Jackson took his passing abilities, passing game to another level where he's completing like 80+% of his passes and just dotting things. And he had, what did he have last year? 3 picks on the season, MVP or MVP candidate or whatever. He did really, really well under Monken compared to before he got there. This episode is sponsored by Kalshi. Browns fans, are you ready to put your money where your predictions are? With Kalshi, America's #1 regulated prediction market, you can legally trade on events that actually matter to you. And the best part is you don't need to predict specific stat lines and compile a 7-leg parlay to win big. With Kalshi, the objective is either yes or no. Will Miami beat Ole Miss? Will Indiana take down Oregon? Which team will win the Super Bowl? And who will be the first pick in the NFL draft? You can put your money on these predictions and more with Kalshi. If you want to try it out, Kalshi is giving $20 to anyone who signs up at kalshi.com/dogs. That's KALSHI.com/dogs, DAWGS, and trade $100. Get away from those disadvantageous sports books and dive into real-world outcomes with real-time odds and real payouts. Head over to kalshi.com/dogs or click the link in the description to get $20 when you trade $100 with Kalshi. That's Kalshi, because why shouldn't you get paid for being right?
With older head coaches, and I know it won't happen, like especially if we get Harbaugh, it won't happen. But if we went older, I would like us to have somebody underneath him that like develops into the next young head coach. So like when the dude like retires or leaves, you have that next successor to continue the stability with the organization, which we've never have had. And that's what I would like to see. Is it going to happen? I don't know. I mean, there's the reports that he likes Tommy Rees, so maybe Tommy Rees would stay on some sort of aspect as like a passing coordinator if he wants to keep Todd Monken. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to have like everything you want and still get the coach you want, you know, like, you know, where he's saying like, he wants his own GM. Well, you know how we're all kind of on the edge with Andrew Berry, so we can kind of like, I mean, Andrew Berry's got to go and we get, you know, John Harbaugh. Are you guys okay with that? Because some people like Andrew Berry's done and some people are like, all right, it's time for a new GM.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to build a defense, get Andrew Berry.
Yeah.
He did build a good defense. But also it takes what Jim Schwartz was able to get out of these guys and develop and what these guys have grown into under him, I mean, cannot be undervalued, which, you know, what could some of these players on offense maybe have been? If I just feel like there was no development on that side of the ball. There was also not a lot of investment on that side of the ball either. It was just a mess. The whole thing's a mess. So that whole side is going to need reworked. Brad, at this point in time, what are we right now? January 11th. Who do you think will be the Browns head coach, and who do you want to be the Browns head coach if you have somebody in mind?
Who I think if say Matt LaFleur gets fired from Green Bay, I think if Matt LaFleur gets fired, I could definitely see him being our next head coach. He's a young guy. He's had some problem with, you know, falling behind, but again, as Justin kind of said, we haven't had coaches that consistently get in the playoffs. We need a coach that like has been there, done that, you know, but I think one name is Mike McDaniel. And I know how some of us feel about him, his personality, whatever. But I feel like after all these head coaching opening, I think he'll be like the one that kind of falls to us. Who I want our head coach to be is personally, Signetti. I'm just kidding. I mean, but the coach I would really like is actually one of the LaFleurs. Really, I mean, I like his brother Mike, but or Matt. So one of the LaFleurs would look real nice. They're young, they have innovative offenses, and I know we all want Jim Harbaugh, but realistically, I can see Harbaugh either being a Falcon, being down there in the Falcons, or I could see him being a Titan head coach. But
what's it tell you then? As far as I've seen, I haven't seen any reports that anybody has requested an interview with Mike LaFleur, the offensive coordinator for the Rams. The Browns have requested that interview with Nate Scheelhaus, who's the passing game coordinator under Mike LaFleur, which I thought was interesting that we went that route instead of the Mike LaFleur route, because from what I've been reading, like Scheelhaus was highly praised coming in from Iowa State. He was the offensive coordinator there. They said he's held like every offensive staff position at Iowa State, came in here under Sean McVay and has gone from, I think last year he had a multi-job role. It was passing game specialist and something else. And then this year was moved into like full-on passing game coordinator. And they are the number one passing offense in the NFL this year.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe it's just, isn't that the first interview we have with any of the Rams coordinators?
Yes. There's reported interest with Shula, the defensive coordinator, but we haven't actually requested anything with him.
So I think that's just them kind of leaning into it. I feel like after they just got done with their playoff game. So I think Nate might be the first one. I think you could see Shula. You could see a few other names. I think it's just like, as weird as it is, I think the Browns are knocking out the ones they can get to the first. And who knows? I mean, maybe Mike LaFleur is just like waving off certain teams he doesn't want to even interview with. You never know. So
it's possible.
I mean, look at like Clint Kubiak. I mean, it says like he's done interviewing, but I mean, maybe he's just done interviewing for now. Who knows?
Yeah, that's the one report too. I think it was Albert Breer said that he had taken all the interviews he was going to, and I thought, well, is that until the playoffs are over, or just in general? Because maybe he's just got it down to, I'm either taking whatever he's done. What's he done? Giants, Falcons. He's probably done the Raiders, right? Titans, I would imagine.
Yeah. So it's interesting that like Harbaugh's like, I forgot, was it Diana Rossini or one of them saying that like Harbaugh's only looked at tape on two quarterbacks so far, and
said he was going to spend the weekend looking at Jackson Dart and Cam Ward extensively.
Yeah, so that's not great for us. So
well, but I mean, so yeah, you say that though, but keep in mind also Baltimore almost drafted Shador last year,
right?
So the tape was also studied on Shador, man. So don't just automatically just write it off. They liked him enough that they were considering drafting him until he told them, "Don't draft me." So I also read that report, and at the time I kind of thought the same thing. But you got to keep that in the back of the mind. Also, is that was a guy that they really liked, and they were prepared to spend a second round draft pick on, if I remember correctly.
Was it second? So I thought they were gonna spend
farther up than that.
I thought it was their 5th round pick, because then we traded up to get in front of them, I think.
Well, hey,
I can't remember.
Round, hey, 5th round. Keep that in the back of your mind. Also, just 5th round.
I mean, that's where we took him, so it's fair. Level playing field, I guess. Brad, we'll get you out here for a second, and then we'll bring you back up here later on. If anybody else wants to get their hand up and get up here on stage and talk about head coaching or anything else with the Browns, just go ahead and put your hand up. We'll bring you up here. Justin, outside of John Harbaugh, while we wait on somebody to get their hand up, who would you want the Browns to hire as head coach? Do you have anybody, like a second favorite after Harbaugh?
I mean, there's guys that I think that you have to be interested in, right? I think McDaniels is interesting as far as just, what he was able to do with Tua at the beginning. Obviously things went really, really south down there, but like, I think that he's a guy, the idea that we're bringing him in interview, love it. Any guys offensively, young guys, and I would pick these trees, the Shanahan tree, McVay. The fact we brought up Clint, the fact that we kind of really didn't reach out to Clay Kubiak, who was the offensive coordinator for San Francisco, and, pick his brain. Mm-hmm. There's guys that I think, that are on these trees that obviously they're not playing, they're calling plays, but you've been in these systems for multiple years where you're learning and developing and learning from what we look at as young offensive minds, but are kind of older guys now that have been in the league for a while. But the problem with those kind of situations, like where you're going to bring in, a passing, coordinator, a young guy is right now, the talent isn't going to be there. So it's going to be, for the first season, it's going to be rough. It might not translate. Are we going to be able to be patient enough as a team and as a fan base to actually get through some tough times and see the other side of it? But I would like us to go young offensive mind, if that's possible.
I don't disagree with you. Now we got Andrew Jackson up here. How you doing?
I love you, bro. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
What's going on, bro?
Hey, well, first off, it looks like the Jaguars are doing great things at the moment. So there's that. But honestly, I want nothing to do with Todd Monken. I mean, this isn't Georgia offensive coordinator Todd Monken. I mean, so personally, I don't want nothing to do with him. But if he's getting one of those people you get a hold of because you get Harbaugh, then I'm okay with it, I guess. Like I said, what I would like, I would like Harbaugh probably 1, and then 1A, 1B, wherever you want to look at it. Then if Matt LaFleur got fired, I'd take him. Yeah. But unfortunately, I feel like we'll probably be lucky if we get a guy like McDaniels, but I feel like we're going to get someone that we're all going to look at each other and go, who? Like, I feel like that's honestly probably who we're going to get.
That's usually how it goes.
God knows who that is.
I mean, if you really look at it, and Blake's talked about this a lot, and and like when you bring this up with Blake, this is going to be his big point when we start talking about stuff like this with Harbaughs and McDaniels and stuff like that, is these guys have kind of better opportunities if you really think about it. If you line up Cleveland and New York and you're a young offensive-minded coach, what are you doing? I know what I'm doing, and I love the Browns. I don't care that my family's here. I'm going, hey, they got an elite wide receiver 1, a young quarterback. They got a running back. They got a nice offensive line. We could probably do some stuff with that. I can understand where these big names are going to come off the board very quickly. Las Vegas might not seem like a nice destination. The fact that Fernando Mendoza is going to be in that jersey next year makes that a very, very entertaining destination very quickly. I think that we might have an opportunity to get a big name in here, but we might be left looking at scraps and looking around at each other going, uh-oh, we might get a name that we don't recognize.
What's your opinion on Brian Daboll?
I would be excited about Daboll. I would entertain that. Absolutely.
He's been here before, like McDaniels. He was the offensive coordinator for Mangini, was he not?
Somebody. Ooh. I don't remember exactly who it was. It might have been Mangini.
Yeah, so Brian Daboll was here. He was employed by the Cleveland Browns. I remember he ran a fullback sweep one time. Anybody who remembers that game will be pulling the ever hair they have left out, because that was at the time one of the dumbest calls. That being said, look where he's gone, look what he's done, and he might be a welcome addition here. He would probably be someone that wanted to work with Schwartz, and as I'm one of the guys that have been kicking rocks on the Browns being a terrible destination, but here's the thing, like, you have an elite defense, and we just said it not too long ago. Like, they literally willed us to those 2 wins at the end of the year. You've got a massive amount of draft capital, and you're going to have some cap flexibility once we move some stuff around and probably have to kick Deshaun's contract down the road. The ownership is about as good as I've seen it been to publicly take some onus on what's happened or what's transpired over the last 2-3 seasons. And the GM, the owner is committed to the offensive side of the ball. So with that, the new stadium coming up, you can really put your fingerprints on this team, especially on offense. And you do get to pick the quarterback. It's just you're stuck with an anchor of Deshaun Watson's contract, but some guys might be able to make it happen. Maybe somebody really likes or believes in Mac Jones. Maybe there's somebody sitting on the bench to trade for right now. I'll say Joe Milton because that's been brought up many times. I don't want him, but there's somebody somewhere that believes in a quarterback that may not be on this roster that might be able to turn things around for us, and you don't have to worry about the defensive side.
I think that's a good point. Another note that I don't think we've said yet, it came out yesterday, was reported that the Browns are currently telling their candidates that while it's not, required that they keep Jim Schwartz, they prefer to keep Jim Schwartz on the staff as a defensive coordinator. So for me, that feels like you're rubbing defensive coordinator candidates probably the wrong way. I don't know how well that would sit with Jim Harbaugh and the defensive coordinator you're interviewing. I don't know how that would, if you're going to bypass Jim Schwartz to be your head coach to get another defensive coordinator over him as the head coach. I don't know. We'll see. Do you guys, Andrew, do you think that's a mistake that they're telling teams that, or telling candidates that?
I think you're narrowing down your pool of people for no reason. I mean, do I like Jim Schwartz? Yeah, I think he's done great, but we've all seen the highs and the lows and at times with this defense under him. So I feel like it's almost like 50% of your candidates are already off the board, no matter if they were good or not. If they really wanted to or not. I feel like you're setting yourself behind for whatever reason. I mean, so I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it, but if it all works out, then I guess we'll all look back at this a year from now and be like, hey, that was a great choice.
Yeah, I guess outside of they've already interviewed Jim Schwartz, obviously, who's here, our DC. The only other defensive coordinator they've actually conducted an interview with was Dirty out of Seattle. The other guys that are on the defense side of the ball, they've just requested interviews. They haven't actually secured those interviews or had them. And I wonder if guys like Chris Shula, Jeff Hafley won't even entertain it if they hear these reports and everything that the Browns are saying, nah, we'd like you guys to keep Jim Schwartz on the staff.
Yeah, I mean, in one aspect, you'd want maybe a defensive guy to come in, and defensive guys want veterans. So I don't know if that means taking another swing at Deshaun. Hopefully not, but they bring in a defensive guy, or they're a veteran guy is what I'm saying for quarterback, and then they can just allocate the resources to whatever draft pieces they can get out of the draft. But I just think if Jimmy comes out, you listen to the presser, you listen to Andrew Berry, they're pretty much aligned on quarterback, receiver, and the offensive line. And if you're hearing that as a defensive coach, you're kind of like, well, why am I here? I don't want to be here if I'm retooling the defense. So that makes it really easy for me to take a McDaniels or a LaFleur if he comes available, or whoever it is, picking these defensive guys' brains. I don't know, what they're doing it for or why, but I mean, it just seems like the onus is on the offense.
For me, go ahead, Justin. You go ahead.
No, I would just, the only thing that I would counter with that is that you've got a defensive roster that is got to be salivating for a guy that, is a defensive minded, that wants to be a defensive minded head coach. I as much as they obviously want to retain Schwartz as a defensive coordinator, I think if they're really, really sold on a defensive head coach and that guy wants to bring in his own roster, his own staff, which he most likely would. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but it's not very likely for a head coach to come in and just be like, yeah, hey, no, that's cool. He can. A lot of these guys have been working with their guys. These are their guys. They've been, in step with them for most of their career. So it's, it's just like you're bringing your guy along with you. He comes with you. He's part of the family. But if you're a defensive head coach candidate, the idea of taking over that side of the ball would be, check mark. But then you have major issues on the other side. That's why if you're a defensive minded guy, you've got to bring in a young guy that can really make some magic happen, because the talent is going to be a setback for a little bit at least.
For sure. I saw Zach Jackson posted today about the Browns potentially bringing in Chris Shula, the Rams defensive coordinator, to be their head coach, and then him bringing Nate Scheelhaus along to be the OC.
Wow.
And he said the problem with that kind of thinking is the other teams looking for new coaches have already probably considered that as well. So you're going to be fighting because the Rams are always a sought after coaching staff, whether it's offense, defense, doesn't matter. You're working under Sean McVay. It's a winning organization. They've got great culture. The tree is phenomenal. If you're taking a shot at a young, unproven coordinator guy, you're probably going and looking at the Rams first, and then maybe the 49ers and teams like that. I do think at this point in time, January 11th, I think probably the odds-on favorite to win this job or to get hired would be Mike McDaniel, just because we heard reports 2-3 weeks ago when the season was still happening. We still had Kevin Stefanski as our head coach, and we heard reports that, if Mike McDaniel were to get fired by the Dolphins, the Browns would be interested in him as their new head coach. It's like, okay, well, we still have a head coach. So that's when it was like, I think Kevin Stefanski's out. They're already talking about being interested in McDaniel. He gets fired. They bringing him in for an interview next week. I feel like that is probably my betting favorite at the moment.
I'd agree with you. I think if you threw the Schwartz card out, like we've been saying, he'd be good with it. And I think he would salivate at getting whatever quarterback he wants or whatever his idea is. And, Junkins, Fannin, and then you retool that offensive line. I think he could do some stuff. I'd be there too.
Well, and go ahead, Justin. Sorry.
I'd be interested in just, what he could bring to the table as far as working with Shador also. This is a guy that resurrected to his career and for, 2 seasons until we're not exactly sure what the downfall of Tua exactly is right now. But I mean, multiple bad concussions did not help his career. Injuries to that team and playmakers as far as losing Tyreek Hill, what that will do to an offense, especially with what Mike McDaniels is trying to run down there. But I would genuinely be interested in seeing what he can do, because right now we're talking like we don't even have a quarterback for sure. We've got some quarterbacks. It's just, can we get a guy in here that can work with any of them? Can we develop anybody? Now, obviously, I don't think that search is 100% a done deal yet. I think we're still in the market potentially. We got to work with some money, but I would be very, very interested to see what Mike McDaniels could do for our offense.
Colton said this before, or typed it before I could say it, but you got to remember, they loved Dylan and they wanted to get him before we took him in the 3rd round to get ahead of the Dolphins, so that could be scary.
Yeah. With the Dolphins, there's been points, especially like this year, and I think last year too, if I remember, and maybe it was the year before, it just felt like there was so much dysfunction at times with that team. I mean, the Browns beat the ever-loving daylights out of the Dolphins this season.
Yeah, they did.
With this horrible Browns team. That was one of the games where we just clobbered somebody, and it was the Dolphins. And then they turn around and they win how many in a row to end the season? And they're all of a sudden, the last couple of weeks of the season, you see the graphics on the screen, Dolphins are in the hunt. They're not high in the hunt, but they're still there. It's like, man, these guys are still fighting, even though it looked like they were the worst team in the NFL at certain points this year. So I know it's been reported the Browns admire Mike McDaniel's offensive mind, his creativity, and all that kind of stuff, and I'm interested in that. The dysfunction there's dysfunction in Cleveland just by default. And I'm always
Mike
nervous
McDaniels
about how
the Cleveland media is going to be gold.
Yeah,
he's the anti Cleveland media, man.
Well, I can't wait for
Exactly,
the.
dude.
Well, the only way to not lose this game is to win the game and not lose it. Oh, great quote there, Mike. And I think if we're gonna talk about Mike McDaniel being the coach, we got to remember there's no S at the end of that name. It's Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we do that a lot.
I know it's very easy. I do it all the time too. I'm like, is it an S or not? No, there's no S. It is Mike McDaniel, singular. This episode is sponsored by Vivid Seats. Browns fans, the football season might be over, but Vivid Seats has you covered for everything else that's going on as we get into 2026. We've got basketball, NBA, college. March Madness won't be too far off. Hockey games, the spring football leagues, baseball's right around the corner, and of course, all the best events like concerts, theater plays and musicals, and comedy shows. And right now, you can get $20 off your first Vivid Seats order of $200 or more with promo code DAWGS20. That's promo code DAWGS20, DAWGS20. Not only is Vivid Seats an official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns, they're also the only leading ticket company with a rewards program. Buy 10 tickets and get the 11th free. So every time you make a purchase, you get closer to earning discounts, seat upgrades, and free tickets. Every purchase on Vivid Seats is backed by their 100% buyer guarantee and industry-leading customer service team. So click the link in the description to download the Vivid Seats app now. And again, get $20 off your first Vivid Seats order of $200 or more with promo code DAWGS20, DAWGS20. New customers only, $200 minimum before taxes and fees. Visit vividseats.com for more details. This episode is sponsored by ISSA. Browns fans, if you're into health and fitness, have you ever wondered how you could maybe turn those hobbies and your passion into an actual career? If that sounds interesting to you, then ISSA has the opportunity you've been looking for. ISSA is the International Sports Science Association, and they can help you become a certified personal trainer in as little as 3 months. And right now you can get $100 off your certification when you sign up through our link, joinissa.com/dogs, DAWGS. Now, certifications are 100% online, self-study, and self-paced. You can study anywhere from your phone, tablet, or computer. And the final exam is open note, open book, aka piece of cake. Except you fitness nuts probably don't eat a ton of cake, so let's just call it a piece of delicious protein bar. And ISSA has the #1 job guarantee in the industry. If you get certified and sign up to be a certified trainer with ISSA, you have a job guarantee or your money back. ISSA has over 10,000 gym partners that have over 73,000 open jobs for trainers right now. And you don't need a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree. You just need your certification to qualify for these jobs. So what are you waiting for? With certification this simple, there's no excuse not to pursue your passion and become a certified personal trainer today. Get $100 off your certification at joinissa.com/dogs. You've wanted to make a change long enough. Now it's time to do something about it. That's joinissa.com/dogs for $100 off your personal trainer certification. Does anybody in the audience want to get their hand up, come up on stage here? We got about 15 minutes left here. We can keep talking about the head coaching stuff. We can shift over and talk about some prospects. We can talk about the draft, whatever we want to dive into here. Andrew Jackson didn't miss a beat. We'll get him back up here real quick.
Well, one thing we got to point out though is yesterday that Rams game. It was the that was the Josh and Gage Bowl, right? Because it was Puka versus Jalen Coker in that. And if you guys get into this podcast, you get part of this Discord group, you guys would realize that those guys, well, Josh actually did a whole segment on Puka Nacua before he was drafted. And Gage has been banging the table to get Jalen Coker, and we didn't get either one. And if the Browns would have listened to those, we'd have two damn good receivers on this team, man.
Without much investment. You could get a fifth, Puka in the 5th, and you could just sign Jalen Coker as a UDFA. No big deal, but...
Yeah. Oh, he wasn't a 5th either? He was a UDFA?
Yeah, he was a UDFA. Okay. Yep.
Oh, damn.
Andrew, what you thinking, buddy?
Well, what to go off that? I mean, if you listen to the Gage and DF and all that kind of stuff, would also end up with probably the most terrible team ever because they miss them. They're terrible at talent evaluation, but that's beside the point.
Hey, man, I was giving him his flowers, man. I was giving him his flowers.
I mean, you say he was beating the table for. I mean, I had never heard him once say his name. It was usually someone else's, but I mean, Jermaine Burton, Tez Walker, whatever. But anyway, like I got put in the chat, like, do you think winning those last two games, made this job possibly a little less attractive? It did look better, with the first pick than where we're sitting at now. I like this. I guess I'd like to say I think it might have, but I'm not for sure. But I don't know.
Number one overall pick is always going to look better to a head coaching candidate than number 6, especially when there is a clear-cut number 1 overall quarterback, and you're looking at a potential head coaching job for a team that doesn't have a locked-in, surefire quarterback in place. And if you're an offensive guy, you got to salivate a little bit of that thought. That's why the Raiders, I think, is pretty attractive for some of these offensive guys.
Agreed. I'm 100% with you. It definitely probably did. The problem is the fact that it did happen. So, I mean, it is what it is. We won the last 2. We go from potentially, the number 1 pick to the number 6 pick. And then you go from there. It's not like all hope is lost. Now instead of you're taking a, franchise number 1 QB, go get your wide receiver number 1. Go get a legit weapon for this team that we've never had. We've just figured we've never addressed that problem.
Yep.
It's not a damning thing. And I know it sucks. I laughed with somebody about this like a week ago because they're like, damn, man, that sucks that we did win those. And I was like, man, F that. You know what I mean? Like, F that. We beat the Steelers and we beat the Bengals. And, obviously, like, does it suck that, we probably set back the rebuild maybe a year? Yeah, okay. But oh well. It is what it is. I'm good with it. Go get yourself a wide receiver 1.
I still think, and we've talked about this on the show plenty of times, I still think Shedeur Sanders is worth building around next year. The only quarterback that I was even remotely entertaining as go get the guy if you can get him would have been Fernando Mendoza. Outside of that, I'm good. Let's just roll with Shedeur because, like you said, we don't have a franchise receiver at all for this team.
And we're missing a lot of franchise things on that side of the ball.
Yes,
and we've got some.
Oh, Blake's in here. Blake just dropped a photo in the chat. Says he took a photo up at the Cavs game the other night with, I believe, what's his name, Jason Tyson.
He plays for the Cavs. Yeah, Jalen Tyson.
Okay, so it's his brother, Jordan Tyson's brother, who. Blake hung out with him and talked to him a couple times, which is awesome. Talked to him about his brother coming to Cleveland, and obviously his brother would like him to be in Cleveland. So there's a potential connection there with Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. I honestly at 6, I think if you go, I'm kind of, and I haven't done my prospect breakdowns. I haven't gone into film and stuff, but like I like Carnell Tate, obviously. I like Jordan Tyson, and I like Makai Lemon.
I do too, man.
I really like Makai Lemon. I think that I don't know if 6 is too high for him. Based on what I've been reading.
With a need, when you have a need like that, and that kid, I've watched some film on Makai Lemon from USC. That's a dude that we could put on the field and he can make some plays for us day 1.
He's a
right
dog.
Now with what we have. And that's when you just you watch 5 minutes of his film and you can go, if you can go, that dude, he can make a difference on my team right now. You draft that guy, even if they're like, oh, well, he's projected to be number 13. Who cares? Go get your guy. You have a need. Somebody else will take him. And I guarantee you it won't be at 13 or 14. It'll be at 8 or 9. He's an offensive weapon. We're in an offensive NFL league mind right now.
So he's like Amon-Ra St. Brown, is he not? He's in that mold, and they're from the same university, are they not?
Yes, that is true. And I think like play style wise and everything, that is how he's being comped as a pro comparison would have been an Amon-Ra St. Brown. Obviously better as a prospect because... Yeah,
imagine having a guy that we have, send 111 passes to. Like, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, and like I said, Amon-Ra was a 3rd round pick. This guy's being comped to him, and he's a 1st round prospect. So I don't know. The more I read and watch on Makai Lemon, I know he's not the 6'3" behemoth, wide receiver 1 alpha dog that everybody's infatuated with. But would you take Amon-Ra St. Brown as your wide receiver 1, even though he's a smaller guy?
Right. He's not your prototypical build on a number one, but I'll tell you what, when you watch Sun God play,
Yes.
I definitely don't go, that guy, I don't have doubts in my mind that he can play in this league. I watch a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown and I'm blown away by how much better he is than everybody else around him.
Is it a situation where the Browns give you lemons and Mike McDaniels can make lemonade?
Oh, nice.
I know. You guys just roast me. Roast me. I know that was bad.
Wow.
That was bad.
Man. That was, yeah, it's okay. That's good. That's fine.
Ladd McConley was another guy that we thought was too small and couldn't get off the line of scrimmage, and he does it for Herbert. Now, having Herbert throwing him passes works out, so that goes back to getting the quarterback right and getting your coach right. You know what I mean? So, stuck in a vicious circle, I guess.
All I needed to do, like this morning, I watched some highlight throws of Shedeur Sanders from this year, and I was like, you know what? I'm even more bought in. Let's just build around him because he's making the deep passes for touchdowns and things. I mean, damn, that pass that he almost had to Sal Cannella against the Bengals was beautiful. And God just dropped it. You know, I mean, a good NFL caliber player makes that catch. Hopefully,
man. And think about all the times he was under duress where he was making these spectacular throws. Like if he just had an offensive line, like. I'm like kind of leaning a little bit more to offensive line right now and getting guys like Lemon and Boston and all these guys. But again, I haven't done enough looking at receiver prospects and prospecting as I should have. So I'm going to be a little quiet on it. But man, there is excitement to be had. That's for sure.
I think the Browns.
I will tell you.
Oh, go ahead, Justin.
Those top three guys, it's a lot of fun watching film. And all three of those top Tate, Tyson, and Lemon are phenomenal. They are phenomenal talent prospects.
And they provide you with different things, which I am anticipating the Browns to go heavy in investment in O-line in free agency because there's really no wide receivers in free agency to invest heavily in outside of a guy like maybe you get a Romeo Dobbs, maybe you get an Alec Pierce, but those still aren't your wide receiver ones. You're not paying them like that. You're going to overpay them to get them in free agency, first of all. That's just how it works. But if you can get you saw what the Bears did, how they built that offensive line in free agency, and they just went hard after that position. Do that. That way in the draft, you can go. I would love to see the first round. If they don't go, like the other day I did a mock and I got Carnell Tate, and then I went KC Concepcion later. Go Mekhi Lemon, and then go get your big-bodied outside X receiver in Denzel Boston out of Washington. Dude's a stud. You have transformed your wide receiver core under the assumption, of course, that you've already fixed your offensive line for the most part. I still like some of these offensive linemen that they could be able to get at 39 in the second round. There's going to be guys available. It's just the receiver tier drops once you get past those first like 3 or 4 guys.
Agreed.
Okay.
And I'm just looking at the free agents right now for offensive linemen. I mean, imagine getting Linderbaum. That'd be okay.
Harbaugh could help make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, God, there's so many orange helmets here. Like our entire offensive line,
they're gone.
Is pretty much gone anyways. So, I mean, I would even bring Kevin Zeitler back. Like you throw him in for a year. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely a lot of guys to be had. And you're 100% right. It's always a point that I forget that these guys that are receivers that are, elite, they don't get to free agency, man. No. You get traded or you re-sign with your team, and that's it. And building the line through free agency is paramount, right? So even Austin Corbett, he's a free agent. We can get him back too. There you go.
Brad, what's up, buddy?
The first round, a lot of us have gone back and forth of staying at the spots, trading up from 28, maybe a little bit to like the middle of the first round.
We have the capital to do it.
Get 2 good wide receivers, and then the rest of the draft just focus on the offensive line for depth or wide receiver and a lineman. I mean, honestly, you've seen like me, Andrew, Ash, and all of us doing tons of mock drafts. But like the there's a lot of good linemen that fall the second round. So like this theory of like we have to get one in the first round is not like a thing.
No,
like,
I don't buy into the have to.
It'd be great to get like Caleb or
Maui Goa,
the kid from Maloga, or the kid from Alabama. Was it KT
Proctor?
Proctor. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, obviously that'd be great. But like when I'm doing these mock drafts, there's a lot of good linemen. That's like this is a big lineman draft.
Yes.
So I mean, we can get guys in the second and the third round. Now, the one thing that hinders us with that is our general manager is not very good at evaluating offensive linemen.
That's why we got to do the job for him, Browns fans out there. We got to go do the prospect research, see who's available, and make sure we just go hardcore on social media. Draft this freaking guy, Andrew Berry, so we don't end up with a freaking Anthony Schwartz, that kind of situation.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yikes.
While we're on this too, and we're gonna the off season goes quick, but I mean we're talking 2-3 months out from the draft. Don't we laugh and we criticize some of the decision making on Andrew Berry in the season, like as far as after the roster's built. But he's good for at least 1 or 2 splash moves during the off season where he'll shake some things up and he'll do something. Don't put it out of the realm that he'd put in a phone call to maybe the Eagles, who he has a good relationship with, who have an alpha wide receiver one that is ticked off beyond means. Now, I'm bad with the money stuff and the cap, and I know when I look at it and we're negative $40 million or whatever at the beginning of the year, and we can't take on a wide receiver one contract. I know it doesn't make sense to me. Usually by the beginning of the year, all that crap lines up, but don't put it out of the realm too that we go get a guy. I think it'd be expensive to go get like an AJ Brown, but
okay. So how about this? I'm going to throw this out there now because I'm going to be talking about it here in the coming months. One guy that I would be very interested in the Browns at least kicking the tires on is a guy that actually just caught the first touchdown pass for the Jacksonville Jaguars in this wild card game, and that's Brian Thomas Jr. He has been completely overlooked this season. They went and they made the huge splash move last year with the Browns to go get Travis Hunter. They're prioritizing Parker Washington on their wide receiver core. They just went and traded and extended Jacoby Myers. They've got Bretton Strange. They've got these running backs that they got to, are they keeping Travis Etienne? What's the situation there? I feel like a guy who's been overlooked by them and underutilized all season, who's kind of had a down year, but dominated as a rookie, is Brian Thomas Jr. Not a lot of people don't realize he's only been playing the game of football for a few years. He didn't start playing football at all until like halfway through his high school career. And I don't even know if he started off playing receiver or not. So really, he started to learn receiver while he was at LSU, and you saw what he was already able to do in the NFL. I would love to see if Brian Thomas Jr. could be had.
Josh, I don't know if you recall this either from last year. He absolutely balled out with not Trevor Lawrence, but with Mac Jones.
Yes, you're right, buddy. Yes.
Went absolutely crazy and looked like an alpha wide receiver one, looked every bit of the part. Now with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, for some reason, I don't know if it's a chemistry thing. I don't know if it's they're on the same page. Those two have not been able to figure it out. And we're going on multiple seasons of this now. He's almost like a piece that just doesn't fit in their puzzle, right?
Right.
He's just kind of a nice piece, but they don't really have a role for him. I would absolutely, it's a great point, man. I would absolutely be calling them and seeing if you can figure something out.
So what I'm hearing is we're putting Mac Jones and BTJ back together, and we're going to use some of that draft capital, those 10 draft picks, and bring it to Cleveland. That's what I'm hearing.
I wouldn't hate it. I'd be okay with it. Brad, you got anything else for us?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that like there's a lot of good wide receivers in the first round, and yeah, I would love to trade for Brian Thomas or AJ Brown or whoever, but some of those guys, like Justin has alluded to, you got to renew their contracts and the money and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
AJ Brown would be a little bit more difficult to finagle. Yeah. A guy on a rookie contract. I mean, I know a lot of people throw Marvin Harrison Jr. out there as well from Arizona. I mean, they're going to have a new coaching staff coming in. He's been underutilized and hasn't really performed up to that top draft pick that they used on him. Could some of these guys, we've seen it happen, I guess, is what I'm getting at. We've seen these younger, maybe underperforming, coming in under expectation type wide receivers get moved from their team, and then they go to the new team and it just, there it is. They're the guy. Yep. And it could happen. I'm not saying it will. I'm not even saying it's likely. I'm just saying I would love to explore the possibility.
Enjoy the roller coaster ride, boys, because it's going to be a lot of
best time of year. Best time of year, man, for Browns fans.
Later, guys.
All right, Brad, we'll talk to you later. Real quick, I know it's 2 o'clock. We've hit our hour. Does anybody else in the audience want to come up and get any thoughts on the show real quick before we wrap it up? Kenny, Justin, any last parting thoughts from you guys?
You know what? I changed my tune on Cleveland being like a destination. I was kicking the can and saying it's a bad destination, but I've changed my tune on that. I like where the defense is, and I like the pieces that we got last year in the draft. Just get me some free agents, some free agent linemen. I'm okay with a couple of the free agent receivers, but maybe we'll get together and do a couple of shows.
Oh, we will,
Josh, and I'll tell you what I like and what I don't like.
Yes, those shows are coming for sure. Justin, anything from you, buddy?
No, man. I'm looking forward to the upcoming week and just all the drama and fun and desperation of another Browns off season. Looking forward to it.
Amen. All right. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up. Appreciate everybody tuning in, jumping in the audience here in the Discord. You guys are the best. Again, if you're watching this after the fact and you want to be part of these episodes in the future, head to jointhedawgs.com. Become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page. Sync up with the Discord. Get into these shows. Hang out with all these fine, awesome, diehard Browns fans as this, like Brad said, roller coaster of an offseason gets underway, because it's been 1 week and it has already been insane with the news cycle. Make sure you guys follow us on all the socials at the Dawgs Podcast. Keep you updated there. Keep sending in your voicemails. I love doing those episodes during the week, reacting to your guys' questions and takes and things like that. So you can do that at thedogspodcast.com. Tap leave voicemail in the drop-down menu. Send a message or just type one out in the box there. Send that to the email. Either way, I'll read it. We'll play it and we'll react. So Justin, Kenny, thanks for tuning or hanging out with me today, guys. Doing the show. We love our Dog Pack. This Discord is so
love
cool.
You guys. Have a great week.
Let's go, baby.
Yep.
Have a great week. Let's go, Brownies.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
This episode is sponsored by Kalshi. Browns fans, are you ready to put your money where your predictions are? With Kalshi, America's #1 regulated prediction market, you can legally trade on events that actually matter to you. And the best part is you don't need to predict specific stat lines and compile a 7-leg parlay to win big. With Kalshi, the objective is either yes or no. Will Miami beat Ole Miss? Will Indiana take down Oregon? Which team will win the Super Bowl? And who will be the first pick in the NFL draft? You can put your money on these predictions and more with Kalshi. If you want to try it out, Kalshi is giving $20 to anyone who signs up at kalshi.com/dogs. That's KALSHI.com/dogs, DAWGS, and trade $100. Get away from those disadvantageous sports books and dive into real-world outcomes with real-time odds and real payouts. Head over to kalshi.com/dogs or click the link in the description to get $20 when you trade $100 with Kalshi. That's Kalshi, because why shouldn't you get paid for being right?